Hello everyone, my name is Angus. I'm a GP and founder of GeneralPractice.AI. Today I'm going to do a demonstration of how to generate a management plan using the GeneralPractice.AI platform. So once you've logged onto the platform, you can then go into management plans and you will be greeted with this menu. So you can generate a number of plans using templates. So we've got 16 templated chronic disease plans, so common chronic conditions. We then have preventative plans, so dementia prevention, falls, mental health and cancer prevention. And then we have what I call optimization plans. So these are plans which will help the patient optimize their exercise, their diet, sleep, and just general health optimization. And finally, we've got custom plans. Custom plans are for any other plan that you want to create that is not on the list of templated plans. So I will start with a common condition. I'll start with hypertension. So you click on hypertension and then you'll see this menu. The first thing you might want to do is actually, before the patient is in front of you, you might want to send them what's called a pre-assessment email. So you click here, you enter the patient's email address and you confirm it and you submit it to the patient. It's just going to appear here on the screen now. The purpose of a pre-assessment email is so the patient understands what the assessment will be. It will give them the information, so it will, in the context of hypertension, it will present the risk factors for hypertension and the habits that can drive hypertension, and it will instruct the patient to assess how are they doing for those modifiable risk factors and what are their habits like. It'll also present an opportunity for the patient to consider what are their top 3 goals for that condition. The whole purpose of the pre-assessment is that when the patient comes in, the assessment is a lot more streamlined. So the patient is now in front of you and you're about to do a hypertension plan. So the first thing to do is to determine what the goals are. So perhaps their first goal is that they want to reduce their smoking. Let's say their second goal is that they want to lose some weight. And let's say that their third goal is that they want their blood pressure to be consistently under 140/90. Next, we look at those risk factors and we look at those habits. So you press go here and it will automatically allocate the appropriate modifiable risk factors or habits for hypertension. So very simply, smoking, how are they doing at smoking? So for this example, they're smoking 15 a day, so perhaps they're not doing so well. So we'll rate whatever score the patient assesses themselves. It is subjective, but it gives you a baseline, and then when you do subsequent reassessments, you can adjust the scores according to how well they've improved or what they've changed from the previous assessment. So they say they want to also lose weight, so we'll probably have a lower score there. Let's say they don't drink much alcohol. Let's say they're not particularly stressed. Let's say their cholesterol profile is okay. Perhaps they're sleeping very well. There's no issues there. And perhaps they're not particularly active. So we can give it an average score there. Perhaps their diet isn't so good. So we'll give it a low score there. And let's say their salt intake is also pretty high. Again, poor diet. So we've just done an assessment. We'll close that. That will save all those scores. Then, do we want to add any investigations? So we might want to add what their blood pressure is today. So let's say it's 150/95 in clinic. And the target, let's say we want the target to be 130/80. Let's say their weight today was 90 kilograms and they're 1.86. Okay, so let's close that. Now, do we want to add any resources? So this will allocate resources to the plan. So they are a smoker. So if we choose smoking cessation resources, we'll choose this one. And we'll also choose my Quick Buddy. They're not have any issues with sleeping, so we can leave that one blank. So for blood pressure, there's a few things I'd like to add. So we're going to add this information about how to get a blood pressure monitor, so how to find one, how to check your blood pressure, that's a video. This is the life disease prevention plan, so I will add that. I'll also add some information about the DASH diet as well. So those resources will be attached to the plan for the patient to easily access. Let's say that they want some help with exercise, so we go under social prescribing, we search for exercise, and perhaps we feel they may benefit from going on the park run. So we'll allocate that, and also the Beat It program. So I'm happy with that. So finally, do we want to add any specific research or reading? So I think this is quite important. This is to empower the patient so they understand more about their condition and the science behind it. So what this will do is this looks at the database of research papers we have for hypertension, presents it here. So I'll add this one here. This is an important study which shows how exercise can dramatically reduce your risk of dying. This is a study from Nature which shows how resistance training can bring your blood pressure down. And this is one about diet. And I'll add another one about another diet one as well. So if you wanted to explore these papers in a bit more detail, you can actually, if you click on this icon here, Explore Research Articles, you can actually click on them. You can see all the key points, the links, and so you can decide which ones you want to attach. So we've added those papers, and then we put the data follow-up. So let's say we want to do it in a month's time, and then we press Generate. So this typically takes anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds or so. And what it's doing now is it's taking all the information that you've put, the goals, the risk factors, the scores, the resources, and it's just putting it all together into a coherent management plan, which will eventually be sent to the patient. There's still a few more steps to be done, and then we'll have the plan. Okay, so here is the plan. Now, it's very important that you check it over first before you do send it to the patient. This is, of course, not what the plan will look like for the patient. What will happen is that the AI in the app will actually convert this into code, and then that code is submitted to the patient's own individual My Lifestyle Hub. So they'll interact with it in a different way. This is the code, or the reference number, which will be relevant if you do want to do a review. And if you are planning on reviewing, then you would save the plan. So you just press on this button here, that then saves it, and you can search for this plan by entering this code, and then you can redo the plan in the appropriate follow-up time. So we've got the goals here, and we've got the resources that we've attached. We've got all the risk factors, and it's sort of allocated some of the resources to some of the risk factors. And the next step is to generate the goals. So it will take all the risk factors, it will take all the resources and also the goals that you put in, and it will put together what's called COM-B goals. So you press Generate here. It's going to take all this information and it's going to piece together some COM-B goals. That's C-O-M-B. So C is capability. So what is their current capability? Opportunity is what is the opportunity that they have, and then of course M is motivation. Why is it that they want to do this goal? And the B stands for behavior, and that is the desired behavior thereafter. So it's putting these together. Now you want to check that they were happy with these goals. You may want to tweak it or edit it, but I'm quite happy with this. The next step is to generate the check-in questions. So the check-in questions are extremely important, and they allow the patient to monitor their data and how well they're doing, how well they're adhering to their plan. So check-in questions are basically ways in which you break down all the individual goals into daily little tasks. It might be things like, did you smoke today? Did you avoid alcohol today? Did you avoid ultra-processed foods today? Or was your blood pressure less than 140/90 today? Did you experience daytime sleepiness? Or whatever the condition is, this will generate questions that break down the goals and then allow the patient to collect data over the period of follow-up that they can present to their doctor so they can see just how well they've been managing their condition. So you have two options here. You can use AI to generate the questions, or you can use you can add questions yourself from a database. So I'll show you the AI first. You press go here. So how many check-in questions do you want? So check-in questions are just yes or no. They're very quick. The patient checks in every day. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. It takes no more than 10, 20 seconds. Let's say I want 12 questions. So the first goal is I want to reduce my smoking. So how strong do we want the checking? How strong do we want these checking questions to be? Like, do we want the patient to? Are we going to aim very, very high because we feel the patient is very activated, or do we want to start sort of more beginner? We'll go with a mixture of beginner, intermediate, and beginner. And you can add any text here of any specific questions you want. Then you press generate. This takes just a few seconds. Okay, so we've got a list of questions here. We've got smoking. Did you limit your smoking? Did you check your blood pressure at home today? Did you use My Quit Buddy? And so on and so forth. So these questions are all relevant to their day-to-day management of their condition. So I'll press to complete, and that's going to add it. I can also use the pre-check-in questions as well. So if I can filter through difficulty. So green is for easy questions. So if I wanted to add some exercise questions, I might want to say, did they do balance questions, strength questions, or aerobic or VO2 max? So maybe I want to focus a bit more on exercise. Same for nutrition, sleep, smoking and substance, and then stress relief. We've got specific dementia prevention questions as well, again, filtered through difficulty. So all these are daily tasks that you would want to do to reduce your risk of dementia. Or you can do disease specific, so you can filter for whichever disease. So if I choose hypertension, then I've got these disease specific check-in questions. If I, for example, go to gout, then I've got gout specific questions, and that's it. So we'll close that and we'll press to confirm. So I've now done the check-in questions. If I want to, I can generate an audio summary. Okay, and I can also generate a referral letter as well. I didn't specifically request a referral letter in this plan, but if I press on that, it will create a referral letter, and I can edit it, copy it, and paste it into the patient's health records. And also, to save me from having to type all this up, I can generate what's called an EHR note. So I just press on the button and wait for that to appear. And then I've got a summary here. I've got all the risk factors. I've got the list of resources that I've referred to. So it's all the key salient points of the assessment. And I can edit it if I want to. And I just press copy and I can paste that into the notes. And then finally, once I've done, I then send this to the patient's email address. So I'll just use my own personal one. And then you press submit. And this typically takes about a minute, and because there's a lot of work that's happening in the back end, and so it's essentially breaking the plan down, and it's converting it into code, and it's going to send it to the app where it's going to be reconstructed, and the patient will then receive two things: receive an email, which I will appear, and it will receive the plan. It will receive a notification on their app, and then all the information that's displayed, the check-in questions, it'll all be present on the app for them to interact with. And that's how we generate a management plan. Okay, so that's sent. So what I also want to demonstrate is how to do reviews. So if you go on to conduct a GP management review, and I've got this plan here that I just generated, so I press on this, and then I press on this. So this is remembered the goals, and it's got all the risk factors with all the scores. So when you do the review with the patient, you can adjust it according to how they've done, and how they've progressed, and you follow the same steps as before to generate the plan. There's one final thing that I want to show, and that is generating custom plans, because there's a slightly different process here. So what you do here is you put the diagnosis, so whatever the diagnosis might be. So let's say it's rheumatoid arthritis, and let's say they want to reduce joint pain, improve mobility, and let's just say improve diet. We'll keep it like that. So the key difference here is the risk factor generation. So what you can do is, this will actually automatically generate the habits and the risk factors according to the disease or the type of plan. Let's say you may have a chronic pain plan, for example. So you can dictate here any specific information about the patient. So I'll just write something here. It's important not to put any patient identifiable information. This patient has rheumatoid arthritis. They are currently taking methotrexate. They do struggle with widespread joint aches and pains. It's very important that the patient is compliant with their methotrexate and that they have their methotrexate monitoring. We're looking to improve diet, we're looking to improve mobility, and please can you generate some risk factors with that view, but also common risk factors and habits that would perpetuate a healthy lifestyle for patients with rheumatoid arthritis. Thank you. And once you've finished, you just press this button here, and then you press save, and then you press submit. And then it will take about, what happened? There we go, pretty quickly. So it's got taking methotrexate, so then you assess how well are they doing that. So maybe they're very compliant. Talk about aerobic exercise, anti-inflammatory foods, healthy weight, smoking, alcohol, stress, sleep, hydration, and social support otherwise. So you can change these according to what you want, but that's how that works. Everything else is the same, and that's it. So thank you very much. I hope you found this guide useful.